Look where I am, everyone. I am at the Shifting Metals stud farm. So I'm sure most of you watching this channel will know Joe from Shifting Metal. Been good friends for a while, done a little bit of business together, done some YouTube together. And he has recently closed the doors of his car dealership to pursue his YouTube career and set himself up with a fantastic setup here. We've got like a mechanics barn over there and a valeting barn over there and a studio over here. We're meeting our good friend Rob Cubitt from Cubitt Cars today as well, just having a bit of a get together. We haven't seen each other for a while, bit of a yarn. I know a few people in the comments said, what's happened between you and Joe? Do you know, we were just so busy, both of us, Joe especially being really busy, we just hadn't really caught up. So there was no beef or anything like that. So today we're having the opportunity to do exactly that, and I'm having a little snoop around while we're here. Now, some stuff I need to keep off camera because Joe's going to be surprising you on his channel with some of those bits and bobs a little bit later. I know we've got over here, we got his latest raffle car, which is a lovely looking Cayman on some big rims. I won't even pretend to know which model this is. I'm sure there's people that know Porsches will be able to tell just from the wheels and the curvature of the door handles as to which one it is. I mean, I can see that it's a auto, whether it's the 2.7 or is it 2.7 or 3 litre car. I've been meaning to try out for a while. I haven't tried one of these for a long while. This is a mechanics car, which is a supercharged 911. How cool is that? Supercharged 911. My MGB is off getting its supercharger sorted right now, but I don't think that is going to be able to touch this. That must be a hell of a handful. You've got a full blown roll cage in it, the full buckets. This is probably worth a bleeding fortune, isn't it? That'll be an interesting. Hopefully, maybe you'll get some content of being able to hoon around in that. What have we got over here? They were just showing me they're still obviously still honouring some work from the garage when it shut down. So for any of the warranty claims, and they've got a Porsche Macan in with only 50 odd thousand miles on, and the timing, well, it hasn't got timing chain issues, it's got tensioner issues on it. I thought it'd be nice for you to have the opportunity to see the front end of one of these stripped down. So there was a rattling noise from the engine, and all this has had to come off. Obviously all the lights, the bumpers, everything stripped down on the front of the engine. Obviously now you're in there, it looks fairly easy to work on. But it's one of these two's gone. I think they said these two have gone. These oil pressure variators. It is locked. Just checking it was locked before I started trying to turn them. You got all the timing gears locked because you have to lock the engine and make sure you don't get everything out of time. So they're working their way through that at the moment. So although the variators are gone, it seems they're very generously also supplying a brand new timing chain kit, and with tensioners and the chains, which are right there. This is what we're talking about when we talk about chains all the time. In case nobody knows, you literally have on engines with timing chains, you literally have timing chains. This one's got two, presumably one for each bank, and you can see there's a smaller one down here. There's running the oil pump. I'm presuming that's the oil pump down the bottom there. And they have the plastic guides. Now, in various different cars, various different things go wrong. So you have the variators here, which you can see the timing chains run over. If those start to fail, they'll allow the timing chain to slip. You've got these plastic guides, which can break. And obviously your chain is flapping around. And then you can actually just get stretch on the chains themselves as well. So these chains can stretch out and allow the engine to go out of time. So obviously there'll be all new gaskets going on this presumably, along with the new timing chains, the works. Hell of a job, not something I'd tackle. But this is the kind of, I mean, I would hate to think how much this is going to end up obviously costing Joe for the timing kit alone, timing chain kit alone, and then these variators, I think hundreds and hundreds of pounds each, and then the amount of labour in stripping this down. You can totally understandably see he probably didn't have it, but if I had something like this, I'd want 5k across it. I won't lie, I'd want 5k across it, because I would imagine by the time you can't sell this with crusty alloys and with bad paint. So by the time you've normally refurbished a full set of alloys, put some tyres on, done some paint on it, it's to make it worthwhile after you paid the VAT man and tax man, you want to be left with thousands in it, don't you? You want to have made at least a clear 2k on something like this for this kind of issue to be worth the risk, haven't you? And again, it's, you know, one of my purposes of my channel has always been to try and make people understand from the dealer point of view why we have to have the margins we do, and why sometimes expectations for like discounts and for part exchange valuations as well are why they are what they are. Because if you were part exchanging this, for example, although you know it's a great running car, if something like this happened months later, you might be totally unaware that over time these have been getting noisier. If that happens to a dealer after 4 or 5 months, they're on the hook for that total repair bill. So their part exchange valuation versus what you could get for the car off your driveway, and when it's obviously gone off your driveway, you never have to see it again, and there's no comeback. The difference, that's why there's such a large void between the two. And we've got another example here. We've got an RS5 that has an air conditioning issue, and it was thought to just be a simple recharge, but it looks like that might end up being quite a lot more expensive to fix as well. There isn't really anything you do warranty wise now that somehow doesn't cost you £500 as a minimum, and a lot of them run into thousands of pounds. It's just with the labour rates now, you know, £70 an hour really is a minimum, and the cost of parts, you know, the parts have all gone up, haven't they? I want to say since COVID. I don't really know why they all went up because of COVID, but they've stayed up as well. So you have a basic job that takes you 4 hours, you're hundreds of pounds into labour already before you've actually added in the parts, and that's why everything costs 500 quid to fix. So I've gone out of the room and they've clearly cheated because they've beaten my lap time, which is utterly impossible.
Oh, it's disappointing, Ben, mate, at the end there.
So we're sampling Joe's, what are we calling it, a racing simulator, Joe? Are we calling it a racing simulator?
I won't be offended by it being called that.
And this geezer's turned up as well.
Yep.
Could be
From
cars.
Yorkshire.
From Yorkshire.
Class.
That's the opposite of everything they say about Yorkshiremen. He has to have cars that are worth like 70 grand in his yard all the time, doesn't he?
Sell them for 60.
So as I said in the previous video, I've been left to sell Mrs. Chops' Jeep for her because she's got a new Discovery and she wasn't really that motivated to get it sold. For starters, it was filthy dirty. Peter's giving it a clean for me now, and it has actually come out bloody lovely. Hell of a difference. We have got one of the wheels off. It's got flaking paint on it, so we sent it down to Marlowe's to have them match the paint on it so we can paint one of the wheels. We've tied up the front faded grille for her, but it had some erratic idling from cold, so we have pulled the EGR valve out and the throttle body, and we're giving them a clean up at the moment. So here is an EGR valve, and they can get clogged up. We've got a new gasket on the way from it as well, because these can blow by the gaskets as well and cause all kinds of issues. So hopefully this will sort it out. Now, one of the cars was this Jaguar XF that we got in. I kind of forgot I bought this one. It had the window taped up because the window regulator's gone on it. But when we checked, it's got a near full service history. It had its cam belts done just a couple of months ago. So I thought, window regulator, clean it up, all good to go. Guy came with the transporter, couldn't get it off the transporter because he couldn't put it into drive, and he couldn't put it into drive because when he had his foot on the brake, he was getting no brake pedal pressure because it had no brake fluid in it. Brake fluid run out everywhere on it. I suspect this has happened as part of the loading process. Something's given up as part of the loading process, and we're now going to find out where the brake fluid is coming out from. We can see a lot of fluid up around here. I don't know how much this is where Petey's topped it up with brake fluid so that we could actually move the thing in here, because as soon as we filled it up with brake fluid, we could get the brake pedal down enough for the car to recognise we had our foot on the brake and therefore put it into drive. So we've now got to establish how big a job it needs to be to sort the brakes out. It might well be worth doing because, like I say, this car has got a fantastic service history. It's had that big cam belt service just done, and the bodywork looks in good condition. If we get the window regulator in, I think this thing will actually clean up really nicely. But it's all going to be down to, if we can make any money out of this car, down to what is this issue with the brakes. So the issue was pretty much what I expected, because I'd seen that there was brake fluid all inside the wheel and all inside the tyre there. It is the, sorry, I'm going to torch me. It's the ferrule down here, brake pipe down here, has burst here, and I think it's just the stress of it loading. It was ready to give at any time, so we've got a new, hopefully we've got a new brake pipe on the way. I just got hold of the motor factors, and with that on there, that's a braking issue sorted. Yeah, we've got some other bits and bobs on the go. We've got some part exchanges in. We've got this Honda CR-V with the 2-litre petrol engine, but the automatic gearbox. It's done about 130,000 miles, and it's pretty battered. Round, I mean, side's not too bad, but round the back here, it's got a big old dent in the rear door here. I think it's got another one in the quarter over here. Yeah, big old dent in the quarter there as well. Pretty scraped up. It's the executive spec, I would say, from looking at it. The funny thing with this is, she told me, she was really honest about the car. She said it's got an engine light on it. I said, oh, has it? I said, how long have you had the car for then? And she said, oh, years and years and years. But it's always had the engine light on it. Always had the engine light on it. And I said, well, how's that then? Because it won't pass an MOT with an engine light on it. She said, the boys said, don't worry, it won't have an engine light when it goes in for the MOT. It gets an MOT, and then I drive it off down the road and the light pops back on again. And I couldn't help but laugh and said, oh, what, what's funny about that? I said, well, it cracks me up because as a car dealer, I get accused all the time of getting an easy ride on MOTs and getting favours done for me, when in fact I believe the MOT stations are tougher on dealers than they are anybody else, because they know that the MOTs are under more scrutiny potentially from another third party. For example, someone taking the car straight off they bought from us to their local garage and getting it checked over. I said, so I would never get away with that. You've been able to run the car for years, lad, but I would never be able to get away with that. So I'm not entirely sure what I'll do with this car, but automatic Honda CR-V would be a car someone would want, but I don't think it's worthwhile us doing the paintwork on it. Now this one my mate Ferrari sold to me, and I've decided I think I will use this for the Millie with Joe, where we go into Europe and go down to the Nürburgring and then the cars get raffled off at the end. Because I bought this for just £300. Ferrari used it to come here and collect some stuff he bought off me trade. It has got a smashed windscreen on it, but it's got a really long MOT, and the MOT did not read bad at all. It's a bit battered bodywork wise, a bit like the other Honda, 2005. It's a bit battered bodywork wise, but like I said, the MOTs on it read really quite well, to be honest. Really quite well. I can't remember what the mileage is on it. Don't really care for £300, do I guess? So what we're going to do is get it on the ramp. We'll give it a clean, get it on the ramp. I think there was some mention of the rear brakes binding. Pete thinks there might be a bad caliper on it. We will, might flick a bit of paint over these bits, although it's not really necessary because there's going to be stickers going all over it as well. Give it a service, and I'll test drive it for a bit, make sure it's going to be reliable enough. It's a Honda, it should be, shouldn't it? And I think this would actually be the perfect car, because I think it will get us there and back no problem at all, and probably still have a little bit of value when it comes to getting auctioned off. We'll do the headlights as well. Auctioned off at G3 auctions when we bring all the cars back. I did forget though, I think it's got quite a big bash in the side of it over here. Yeah, it has. Quite a big old scrape and a bump in the corner here. Goes into the arch down there. There's a nice big gap you can get your hand in down there. Woo! Beautiful. I think there's a scrape on the front edge of that door as well. So, yeah, it's never going to be worth doing anything with it retail wise, not a million years. I only got it off him purely for the case of doing this charity run. We'll have a spin it at some point and see how bad it is. Another part exchange in, a Volvo estate, a V70 2.4 diesel, the legendary 2.4 diesel. This came in part exchange against the Mazda 6. It was a smoker's car, so it does smell of smoke, and it does got a lot of ash that needs a good old clean out. Doesn't smell of smoke that badly, smoke, as I would imagine it would based on the amount of ash in it. I think it's done about 130,000 miles just running for a Volvo V70. Don't think I'm going to retail it though. One, I would struggle to get rid of the smell of smoke. I've tried all kinds of different things and never really had a lot of luck with it at all. I've tried ozone machines. Everybody always goes, ozone machine. I don't find they work, at least not the one I've got. I've tried a misting machine that puts dry fog in the car. Doesn't seem to work. I've tried coal, believe it or not, because I was recommending that, charcoal as well. I've tried washing powder on the floors and then hoovering it out later on. I've never found anything that really does kill the smell of smoke off. Smoke is a right killer to the value of your car. So yeah, unfortunately, if you are a smoker, then it is quite possible you will be bid quite low on your car if you do tend to smoke inside the car, because we just can't get rid of the smell. And there's a lot of people out there that's an absolute deal breaker for. So I decided to pay the premium today and have custom valets do the Volvo for us. Neither Pete or I think fancied dealing with all the cigarette ash inside the car. And it's come up blooming lovely. Due to a lot of work, obviously it's come up lovely. He really went to town on it. Yeah, worked really hard on the car. And it is looking brilliant. I'm going to run a aircon bomb through. It doesn't actually smell that badly smoke, considering how much cigarette ash was in the driver's footwell. Doesn't smell that badly smoke at all now anymore. Look, he's done a hell of a job on that carpet. Look at that. He has. Pete said he has. Even the owner came by because he had a ABS light come up on Mazda. It's gone away again, and we couldn't find any codes in the system, so we don't know what that was about. We just said come back and let us know if it happens again. But even he said it's never been this clean, because he saw it was being cleaned when he turned up. It's looking lovely. So I will probably put this up on Facebook now as kind of, well, it's not a trade sale because it'll sell to someone who isn't trade, but I'll just be honest about the car. So it's got too many miles, not ready for us to retail. You can buy it and run it around for a few days, and if you have any major problems, come back to me after that. You're on your own. It's pretty much how I list the cars. And to be fair, I should jinx myself now, I've done that quite a bit, and the people that have had the cars seem to be fairly sensible, and I don't really have any comeback off it. Obviously, I let them have the cars cheap enough. I'm not charging full retail for them. I'm just adding a few £100 on top of the work we've done against what we took them in part exchange. And yeah, people seem to be fairly sensible about it. I think if they get it cheap enough, they might have to put a few quid into it. You have to be careful who you sell to. Obviously, I tend to like to sell to chaps or ladies who are pretty down to earth and know exactly what they're doing. No kind of like single mums, all this, get me back and forth to school every day without any problems at all. And it's the only, £2,000, £1,500, £1,000 I've got. Those aren't the kind of people you want to sell it to. You want to sell it to people that strike you as a little bit hands-on. They don't mind doing few bits and bobs here. I've had a few older cars and they know the score with it. I'm sure sooner or later I will get a Screamer doing it, but you always remember the bad ones. You forget the good ones. To be honest, I sold quite a number and people have been pretty cool about it. So I'll continue doing it. And if I get a Screamer every now and then, just buy the car back off them, put it up again. I'm sure I'll get someone more sensible come along. See you, Mikey. So Mikey is off in his Ford Fiesta ST prize. Local lad that I actually know. I can't believe he's won it. He told me all along he'd win one of my raffles. He's entered loads and put loads of tickets in for the Audi apparently and didn't get that. But he's won the ST, so persistence pays off. So on to the next one. If you don't know, we've got a 106 GTI in the latest raffle, and that car will be at Rustival this weekend. I'm going to Rustival and I'm going to take the 106 GTI there. If you don't know anything about Rustival, it is a car show where anything goes. There's such a mix of cars there, some fantastic motors from really patinaed up. I pulled it out of a garage and I cleaned it up a little bit and just got it running and driving to fully restored stuff, and all just a mix of cars you just haven't seen for years and years and years. So if you haven't got a ticket for it yet, grab yourself a ticket and get there this weekend. Brilliant show, and I'll put a link to the raffle for the 106 GTI in the video description down below, or just search Chops Garage raffle in Google, you'll find it. VW Caddy is back from MOT. This is the WAV vehicle. Need to do a couple of tyres on it. We've got it in here so we can do oil and filters tomorrow, ready to go out to the customer. Fuel filter, air filter, oil and oil filter. In the meantime, PD is dropped the tank out of the Trans Am because about time I had a working fuel gauge on it. A friend of mine went over to America and smuggled this back in his backpack so that I could get it cheaper, because the import duties are so heavy now, aren't they? So we are going to swap that out, and I should then have a working fuel gauge, which I've never had on a Firebird. I've just always filled it right up. This is how much fuel came out, which is obviously going to go back in again. And then I should know how many horrendous miles to the gallon we're doing. Predictably, our new sender unit didn't work, so now we're looking at the other end. You might question why we didn't check this end first. That's because we were told this was checked and it was all right before we put the sender unit in, but now we're not so convinced, because what happens with the new sender unit is the fuel, when you fill it up, starts to go down towards empty, and as you empty it out, it goes towards full. So somewhere the wiring is the wrong way around. So I've got my apprentice showing him a thing or two about how to check wiring, and we're going to see if that makes any difference. So success with the fuel gauge on the Firebird. If I turn the key on here, you'll see we are showing, we're showing 3/4 of a tank, as we should. So, sender unit sorted it. No, it didn't. Turned out, despite having 2 mechanics look at the car, one of them to tell me that the prop shaft, the wiring had wrapped up on the prop shaft, and that was the issue. Hold on, let's see if I can get a better quality camera. Yeah, one told me that the wiring was wrapped around the prop shaft, and that caused a problem, but I might need a new sender unit. Second person told me I need a new sender unit. But what we found after putting the new sender unit in, trying it out, trying to do the wiring at this end, was at some point somebody cut the 2 wires going to the sender unit halfway along the car. Both wires are black, but they put them together. They must have just swapped them over and not checked afterwards. We swapped those 2 wires back because it was the only thing left that could possibly be at fault, and bang, fuel gauge started working. So the old sender unit was working. It just needed the wiring around the right way. But that said, it did have a really bad filter in it, so probably best that we did change it. So now I shall know exactly how poorly this is performing on MPG. So Nissan Duke 1.5 diesel service time. We're doing a fuel filter because we're pretty confident it will never have been done, because it lives right back here and people won't want it to be bothered. You need to take out the air box, which I'm just going to do in a second when I put the phone down. Get the lower part of the airbox out, and then we'll have access to the fuel filter down there. But again, like I say, it's the kind of thing you can imagine it's probably been done very infrequently due to the access. So I've got the little cover off here. You need to take the electrical connector off the top first, otherwise you won't have enough room to get it out. Got the other air intake pipe off, and we see the fuel filter lives down here at the back of the engine. Really helpful place to put it. So we've got to get these tabs off now. Should be fun. I'll shout over the hoovering going on in the background. So we've got the what have I done with my torch? I've lost my torch as normal. Got the fuel filter out completely out of there. Undo the 10mm at the front. Undo the bracket that holds this front section on, and then undo the 10mm, and you can stretch out. The video I saw, the guy was fiddling around undoing the bracket up here at the back just to get it to lean forward, but you don't have to do that. You take 10mm out the front, take 2 10mm off here to take this front bracket off, and then the bracket that's left, hold on a second, let me find a torch. Yeah, the bracket that's left, you just stretch it out, and then the filter drops enough, you then tilt it and pull it out without hitting the bulkhead up here. To be honest, it doesn't look that old. I thought it might look very old, but it looks in pretty good condition, and the fuel coming out of it is nice and clean. I'm just draining it off at the moment. Yeah, the fuel looks nice and clean, so I haven't really got major concerns that it's never been changed. And it's one of the cleaner lots of fuel coming through, so it's obviously nice and clean in the system. But we'll fill up the new fuel filter with fuel, undo the bleed nipple to make sure we don't capture air in there, fill it up with fuel, then tighten that back up again and pop it in. Now, as lucky as I am to live in the countryside with all this land, it does make running a business and trying to keep the garden under control quite hard work, which is one of the reasons we've got the Panda with the topper on it to be able to cut the grass. But we've got a new toy to give a go. So Man Motion got in touch and offered to send me one of their robot lawnmowers. And I thought, normally I do things that are directly related to the channel in terms of cars, but obviously this is something I actually really could do with, and I thought, fair enough, let's give it a go and give my honest opinion on it, just in case anybody out there is looking to do a similar thing. And this will actually free me up more time from the business, because at the moment I'm having to take a day off to come and look after the land. This could save me quite a lot of time. It says it will do 1500 meters squared maximum, so I don't know whether I'm going to use it for the garden part or the field part, or just even part of the field. But we're going to give it a go and see what we think and take it from there. And here we go. Some assembly required. Let's get putting it together. And there is the mower, obviously electrically powered, I believe. I'm not sure whether this is one of those ones that docks into a station, whether we take the battery off and then recharge it and get it going again, but we'll see. I am actually going to have to read some instructions for the first time ever. I think it's probably a good idea, it's got an electric charge off that, to read through the instructions. There we go, not too heavy actually. That was quite easy to lift out of the box. It's got its own little doody suspension on it. It's got these quality wheels. I guess that allows it to move in any direction, doesn't it? From the front there. You've got these knobbly ones on the back. Ah, here's our docking station. So it does have a docking station. Looks like it must drive itself in there and charge itself up. Put it up and see what the blades are like underneath. Oh, there we go. Selection of very menacing looking, if you're a blade of grass, blades attached to the bottom. So looking at it, you've got some pretty easy to use buttons here. If you press the home button, it's going to return to the docking station. If you press the cut button, it continues working. Double click it to lower the cutting discs, and then on off here, and an emergency stop button if it gets too close to something you don't want it to. So I've been sitting on the instructions mat here. I'm just going to go through this and learn what I need to do and get it up and running. First job, remove this panel and connect the vision module. I like it when they give you all the tools needed to put something together. Saves me having to go back and forth to the garage if it's already in the box. You get this little duty screwdriver set. So I've relocated up near the log pile because obviously I need a power source to plug the robot mower in. So it is plugged in, and for the moment I've just put the whatever you want to call it, what is that, the radar, the antenna, I've just tied it up there until I decide where I permanently want it. And so now what we've got to do is map out the garden. You can put the antenna in the ground as well next to the unit if it's on grass, but obviously I'll put it up on concrete here. It's really been quite easy just following these instructions here, but the next thing is scan this QR code and use the app to map the garden. So I downloaded the app, and within seconds I Bluetoothed connected my phone to the robot. It shows that the global positioning is working. So we're off to go set up a map now. It's all been super simple so far. Famous last words. Someone's very keen to help with setup, aren't they? Hey, you great lump. Go on, let's get this robot up. I'm sure you're going to love that, aren't you? So I've just completed a map from the docking station all the way through this section here, which we won't be cutting. And initially all I've done is a little map of the first part of the field here. And obviously this is more uneven than a normal garden, so I've avoided all the rough stuff around the outside there. But I've just created a little patch in this area here. So we're going to try and set it off on its first mow. All you do is walk around the outside of the perimeter where you want it, and then bring it back around again. That sort of geo-fences that area, and then it sets its little course back where it's not cut into the docking station. So we're going to give it its first go. Look at this, is off. Our first cut. Let's see how it goes. Here we go. It's getting to the point where I set up the cut, and we will see what happens. Presumably it decides for itself what the most effective way of cutting is. Well, I'm one beer in my bank holiday weekend, and Wally, as the family decided to call him, is still going strong. Struggled a little bit with the longer section here, but on the grass here that we've just due another cut now, he's doing absolutely fine. I was actually able to remotely adjust the deck height as well, which is pretty cool. You can log in and watch off the camera. I think they've got a logo for that, and you can see what percentage is that sitting from your sofa. But it looks like he's gone off for a recharge because the battery wasn't 100%. It was about 70% when I got it. It's doing a lovely job. Absolutely lovely job. I wonder if we can catch up with it working its way back to the base. Yeah, here it is, working its way back to its base to recharge, presumably. And there we have it. The little chap has done exactly what I asked him to do. The cut is fantastic. It is really good. And beautiful straight lines everywhere. I have to say that is an epic little machine. Obviously people go, oh, you know, sponsored content, this, that and the other. At the end of the day, they're only going to send me one robot. We're only ever going to do one video on it. So if it wasn't any good, I'd tell you, because it wouldn't make any difference. But I was all set to be really frustrated, spend hours trying to set up and find it didn't do the right route. But that was the easiest thing to set up yet. Yeah, that easy that I am definitely going to set up the rest of the field for it to do the whole lot. It's going to take quite a number of charges. I don't know what the range of the GPRS system is as well. We might start to run out of range, we'll find out. But absolutely brilliant bit of kit. And there he is having a well-deserved rest, getting all charged up. So yeah, if you've been thinking about one, absolutely highly recommended. I say, if you, for a minute you think it's going to be too complex for you to set up, it is not. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Absolutely brilliant bit of kit. I'll put a link in the video description down below. Should we get any offers, I'll put them on screen and add that as well.